Hey everyone, good morning, good evening. This video is entirely knowledge focused, designed to provide comprehensive overview of how artificial intelligence is currently impacting software development and what we can expect in the near future. We will explore the capabilities of artificial intelligence and the limitations in coding, including whether it excels, where it struggles, and the challenges developers face when working with complex and legacy code bases. I have recently started working on an exciting project. It's a dirty POC around code generation using artificial intelligence. I have been thinking about creating a prototype that can assist developers in writing code. The goal is to explore how AI can generate, modify, and optimize code, potentially making the development process faster and more efficient. At the same time, it raises an important question: how much effort is required to train AI models effectively, especially for complex or legacy code bases? This exploration aims to understand both the capabilities and limitations of AI in real world software development. By the end of this video, you will get a clear picture where we really are with artificial intelligence in software development. We will explore whether AI can truly replace human developers, or if it's better viewed as a powerful assistant that speeds up coding, generate suggestions, and handle repetitive tasks. In this prototype, I'm experimenting with AI models that can handle everything from writing crash code to making small changes in the existing code blocks. We will see the impact of adding new feature or deleting necessary lines is relatively straightforward, but when it comes to updating or refactoring everything code base, especially code that interacts with multiple components, the challenges grows significantly. AI can provide suggestions, but ensuring accuracy, context awareness require careful planning and sometimes significant fine-tuning of the underlying model. This project attempts to bridge the gap between human creativity and AI assistance in software development. Over the coming weeks, I will be sharing insights, challenges, and the lessons learned while developing the prototype, exploring both the capabilities and limitations of AI in code generation. Even simple changes, I'm talking about the simple changes like adding a new line of code or deleting an existing one, it requires some effort from the development team side to train that particular AI model. So let's discuss more about like how we can achieve it and what are the pros and cons of having AI to replace the developer, which everyone talks about over the internet. So as part of my current prototype, I am using the LangChain, Streamlit, and Python as a programming language. So Streamlit is nothing but it provides the front end, something like this one where we can provide the inputs, okay, where we can provide the input and from the users, and on clicking on of any button we can fire that particular event or AI agent who can be working for us to generate that particular output. Okay, this is one thing. Now the second thing is LangChain. LangChain, chain itself says it's a chaining. Okay, so for example, I am running an AI agent. Okay, so one of that AI agents helps us to uh, you know um, train that particular code. Okay, so if I'm running that particular agents, I have to um, train that particular AI model um, over that particular code base or the repository. Okay, one of the tasks. But after that, I wish to run some query where I can add some files, or if I make wish to make some changes we can make, okay, one of the agent for that. Now after that, if I wish to run sonar cube as soon as the code generation is done, or if I want to build my code to see the build is successful or not, I can create one more AI agent for that. So here every other agent is taking an input from the earlier agent's output. So which means if I run a agent one to generate a code, now after generating the code, it will give that particular code as an output, and that particular output code will be an input for the next AI agent, which is like building a code or uh, checking the Sonar cube on top of that particular code base. So there the lang chain comes in picture. Now apart from that, I'm using like the normal Python libraries, JSON, because I'm playing with the JSON here, YAML to load the configuration, OS to read or keep my API key. Okay, and I have some custom files to um, you know uh, to convert the variable names or the function names to follow the best practices. Okay. Now, let's take an example. So, in the real world, like when we create a website, okay, so in that particular website, we used to see like many components. Okay, if we divide any page, it has multiple components. We used to have the header on the website. We used to have the hero component on the website. We used to have carousel, we, table component, footer component. All these are nothing but a components. Okay, image is also a component. Okay, so as part of this particular prototype, we will try to create a hero banner component which will have the complete HTML. It will be having an XML. It will have the backend Java code. It will also have the JUnits written. Okay. This we can generate for Spring Boot, Strut, but at current point of time, I'm using the one of the um, platform, one CMS as a platform because I worked on that. So, but at the end of the day, the files are same. We can consume the same file there also. But the end goal of this particular prototype is to generate a file and see after generating the file how much beneficial it is. And if suppose after generating a file, if I wish to delete something or add something, or if I wish to change something, okay, how it will impact. So we will quickly see those impacts here. Okay. Now, um, let me go back to my command prompt. So in my command prompt, I can see that service is already running. Let me go back to the end. Yeah, I can see that service is already running because I ran once to test the flow if everything is working fine. Now, so because I'm using a Streamlit, so I started my server using the command streamlit run and my file name here. Okay. Now, once the server is up, I will be going to my Git repo code base. Okay. So I will clear everything here and I will say like git status. So this command will tell us in our current code repo. Okay. So this is nothing but my code repo where my code lies. Now here, after running the git status, we see like there are no files or no changes are available. Okay. This is just to show like I have not generated the code yet. But when I will be going back to my front end, which is nothing but a Streamlit front end, okay, from where we are going to take the input from users. So I'm saying generate a component, a hero banner component, where I can have the title as a text field, okay, and I wish to have a description also as a text area, okay. Now I wish to have multi-field, so I will say links, add, I will be going here, I will be saying URL and it's a text field, which is fine, no issues. Now I have provided the enough input. So post providing this enough input, it will generate the required file. Okay. So if I click on generate, it is running and you see like on the top, it is running. Okay. Once the running is completed, it will generate that particular output for us. So let's wait for some time. Let it generate the output. So guys, again, I'm repeating, I'm using an OpenAI model, which is a chat GPT model. There are multiple other models also available in the market. Okay. So these are like all generic models, but if you wish to generate or work with the code, we will be in future, we will be using a code bird from the Microsoft and other LLM models, which is specifically to generate a code. No, okay. So I think something is wrong or what is. Okay, I don't see any error here. Let it generate or let me again click it. hmm Let's see how much time it takes. hmm mm mm. Looks like it got stuck somewhere. Let me stop the process. Let me stop the process and start it again. It got stuck, I think. Yeah. Yeah, now let me start this again. Now post starting, it will reinitiate the server. Now I will be going back to the same page because I have provided those inputs. Okay. Now I think that that is also gone. Hmm. Let me add the group here now and add the fields. I have added the URL as a text field. Add this field here. Now click on generate component. Okay. So it is deploying at least one dialog field I have to define. Oh, okay. So this is I have added here. Now let me add the title also as a text field. This is done, added. Now let's try to generate the component. Now it's trying to generate the component, and if I go back here, I don't see anything here. Now it is still generating code. Let it generate. Yep. So if you see, it generated the component. So as part of this particular component, it generated the hero banner.html. So this is my HTML file, which is having the hero component code. Okay. Now, apart from this, it's also generated the banner content.xml component file, and then again it generated edit config, which says like after edit, refresh the page, listeners, and it also generates the dialog, which is having a title and description. Title as a text area, description as a text area, and title as a text field. And it generates in the same sequence what we have given. Apart from that, it also generated the multi-field here you can see as a text field. Okay. Now, apart from these, it also generated this link model, which is a Java class in the backend. And at the last, it also generates the hero model test class. Okay. So now if I go to my Git, I can see all these files got created. Okay. Now if I say gad add tar, okay, and say git status, you see like whatever file we have discussed, all those files got created in the code repo also. Okay. Now because I am using my personal laptop and this particular personal laptop don't have the AEM jar, so I cannot deploy this particular code and check. But what I can do is I can run a command mvn clean install just to see like when we created this code, does it get created up to the mark or we have some issues in the files. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so when we go here, it is saying compilation failures. Okay, um, it is showing some issues in the JUnit because it might not be able to find out the library. Okay, let me do one thing. It may be a case I don't have the dependency in my form. Okay, for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this particular test file. Okay, now I will again rerun my code and let's see like if it gets successfully compiled. Oh, great. So I can see whatever file got added as part of this particular code base got compiled successfully. Okay, which means we are able to add the code. Okay. Now let me give you one more context here. So earlier, my team, as part of some other project, tried to create the same kind of scenarios before without using artificial intelligence. So it took us like 15 days to 1 month to create this kind of code and generate the same output. It took us a lot of time, okay? But this particular dirty POC, what I did, it took only 5 to 6 hours. If you have a knowledge of AI agents or Streamlit and other tools, it took me like 6 hours. So you can see here the time got reduced significantly. Earlier, it took us like 15 days or 1 month, but now it took only 5 hours with AI because AI using its own intelligence while generating a file and it sees. So if you let's go back to the file and see what it generated. Okay, so you see, I did not tell to my file, um, like these are the imports you require. You have to have this particular model or you have to have these annotations. Okay, I just provided the field description and title. That's it, and rest of the things that particular code created by itself. Okay, this is one thing. Okay, now if I go back and stop my server. Okay, after stopping my server, I have one more code. Okay, I have one more code which is generate util class. Okay, so what it will do, it will be generating a util class. So let me go back and start this particular file, generate, no, generate util code, Java code. Okay, yeah, this is the one. So I'm starting the server. Server is up, and I have written this particular query here. It is generating a code for this particular query. Okay. Now you see, I'm saying generate HTTP connection class having all required methods, headers, and URLs. Okay. It generated this particular class for me. Now, post generating this class, it has provided a send get request, and inside send get request, you can see it is taking a URL string. Okay, you just pass, and it whatever URL you're passing, after that it will return you this particular thing. Okay, this is very first thing. Now, generating a code is really easy. Okay, but if you wish to work on the existing code base. So I have some more files here. Okay. So I have generated this file, HTTP connection. Let me do one more thing. Generate date class having required method to convert from IST to MST, for example. Okay. And I click on enter. Now it is running. It should generate something for me. I'm not sure like what it is going to generate. So yeah, it created a date util. You see like how intelligently it took the name date util. Okay. Now you see here it created one function. It is saying like this particular time zone, this and this, and is date or it is the time zone, and it is converting. It is doing something. Now local date time format is date and all those. Okay. Here we did not provided the IST MST time zone, but somehow it is able to create that particular time zone. Now how effective this code is, we have to check. Okay, we have to test, and without testing this particular code, we cannot publish. Now, very one important point I wish to call out here. At current point of time, we can see like everyone is able to generate the content. Okay, if you wish to generate a content, you can write on the chat GPT, or you can write here also. Um, Generate a two-line of essay, or tell me something about any product. Okay, or tell me the properties of this product. It will be able to write it. Okay, now I can also type some query to generate the image or generate a video. Our AI tool will be able to do that, but we cannot rely on the AI tool. Okay. And if you see that particular earlier query which I have created, it required a lot of effort to generate that particular prompt. And using that particular prompt, I was able to generate those files and save into my code base. Okay. But post generating these files, I cannot directly create a pull request and send it for the review. No, it will not work. It will not work. It require a review. So which means at current point of time, whatever content we are generating using AI, every piece of content require a governance or the review from someone. Okay. And only post reviewing, we can go ahead and publish this particular content. But without reviewing, we cannot do that. So which means the governance is required. The governance is required. That's where, and one more point here is AI sometimes hallucinate. Okay, hallucinate means if you're asking something, it may tell you some other answer. Okay, So this is also one of the pain point we have. So governance is one of the pain point. Okay. Now, suppose if you have published something or AI hallucinated, on the live environment. Now, if any user is seeing or if any critical website is running, having this hallucination or generating a wrong output or presenting a wrong output may hamper the image of any company. Okay, or like end user can sue the company also on depending on that particular content. They don't care like how that particular content got generated, but the content is not appropriate and not relating to what current user is looking for. Okay, so these are the things what we have with respect to the AI. But if we talk about, okay, so if we talk about this particular prompt I have written here, okay, so I told like my prompt generate these files, okay, and these are the inputs, and then you can save these files here and all. Like this is the example of generating a file. I tried to write some prompts where I can, update some files, but if you see in our code base or when we work on any of the project, we will be having more than easily we will be having more than 100 files. Okay, now our LLM, what we are training, should be intelligent enough to find out all the references. So for example, if I wish to remove any dialog field or if I wish to remove any constant, I have to, or a function in from the util, I have to check each and every file, either it is XML, HTML, Java, or any other file. I have to check all those before deleting it. Else, what will happen? It will remove half of the reference, which means there should be accountability or there is a regressive testing required to develop that particular output. Now, to create that kind of system, we require a lot of effort. It is like lot of capacity and the effort is required. Okay. And it will not be easy. I do understand if we have any task which is repetitive. So for example, I've created that particular component. Okay. Now any company which is like creating 100 of components, okay, this will work for them. But if we talk about where we have to provide some logic, okay, and where in between the file where we have to make some changes or the projects which require migration, it is very, very tough. First of all, train the model, okay, provide the effort there, and to running that particular model and to validate those models, it requires effort. So on each and every place you require effort using this particular AI at current point of time. I'm not sure how it is going to behave in future, what level of efforts we are going to require. But here I can see, the generation is easy, but to make the existing, to make the changes in existing things, it's really difficult. So now we are good to talk about more issues. Correct. When training an AI model to assist with coding, it's not just about feeding it generic programming examples. The model has to learn the specifics of the frameworks and platform you're working with, whether it's Java, Spring Boot, Salesforce, Adobe Experience Manager, or any other tool, XYZ. Each of these frameworks has its own architecture, conventions, and best practices. Teaching a model to generate accurate and reliable code in these environments require a significant amount of effort, careful data curation, and extensive testing. For sure, the challenge doesn't stop there. Software frameworks are constantly evolving, new releases coming, whether major or minor, doesn't matter. Can introduce new features, they can introduce a new feature, deprecate old ones, or even change syntax rules. For example, a minor version of Spring Boot might introduce a new annotation, while a major version could restructure code APIs entirely. AI models trained on older model versions may generate code that is no longer compatible, meaning retraining or fine tuning the model becomes necessary to accommodate these updates. There is a cost. Okay. However, the situation becomes significantly more complex when we move to legacy code bases, which is a very good example. Legacy code bases or the code bases which is having like 100 files, 100 plus files. Okay. Large old projects often contain independent modules or multi-module, I would say, inconsistent coding standards and undocumented customizations accumulated over years. Training an AI model on such a code base is extremely challenging. The model must understand, integrate dependencies, historical design decisions, and framework specific conventions, a task that require enormous efforts in data preparation, fine tuning, and testing. Of course, the highlight this highlights an important reality of AI assisted development. While models can accelerate coding and provide intelligent suggestions, keeping them up to date with framework challenges is an ongoing effort. Maintaining a high quality model is not a one time task, it's a continuous regressive process, much like maintaining the code base itself. In short, AI can be powerful coding assistant, but its effectiveness depends heavily on the quality of training, the specificity of the framework, and adaptation to evolving technologies. On top of all these challenges, every company has its own code base, following unique standards, folder hierarchies, and customizations. The diversity makes it even more difficult for AI models to generate code that seamlessly integrates into existing projects, as the model must adapt to company specific conventions and architectural patterns. If we take an example, some companies may have a multi-module project. When code is split across several interconnected modules, each with its own responsibilities, others might follow a headless implementation, focusing purely on backend services with no UI components. These variations in project structure and another layer of complexity for AI code generation, as the model must understand the specific architecture and coding pattern used in each scenario to generate accurate and maintainable code. At the end of the day, I would say artificial intelligence shows a lot of promise for coding. It works reasonably well when we are dealing with a limited number of files or isolated code segments. However, providing the AI with the full context of a large code base and training it to understand all dependencies is still challenging and require a significant amount of effort. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's certainly feasible in theory, but at the current stage, it remains difficult to implement at scale. That said, the near future looking promising. As AI assisted development evolves, we may see standardization around project architectures with companies adopting structures that are easier to integrate with pre-trained large language models. This would allow AI tools to work more effectively across large code base, reducing the overhead of custom training and enabling broader adoption. While AI has proven to be fast and efficient for content creation, whether it's generating text, audio, or video, coding is still a different challenge. Writing a fresh code is isolated files or generating a simple snippet is relatively straightforward for AI. I'm not denying that. I don't have any doubt on that. Yes, it's relatively easy. However, when it comes to complex projects, legacy code bases or code that interacts with multiple modules, AI is still struggling. Yes. Now, training AI to understand the full context of a large code base, follow company specific standard and adapt to a developed framework requires significant efforts and expertise. In short, AI can accelerate certain aspects of coding, but it is not yet at the point where it can fully replace developers. It works best as an assistant for repetitive tasks and simple code generation, while complex development still relies heavily on human expertise. Even though AI can generate text, audio, video quickly, human oversight remains essential. Teams must review AI generated content for accuracy, clarity, legal compliance, and alignment with corporate standards. This ensures that the content is safe to publish and minimize the risk of errors that could lead to financial or reputational damage of a firm. So, in short, AI can speed up content production like never before. But in corporate settings, human review and structured governance remain essential. After all, it's about protecting the organizations and its users. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you see AI shaping development and content workflows in your team? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. Let's start a conversation because it's really required where people are horrifying like what AI is going to do. Thanks for hearing me out. Have a good day. Thanks.